It's estimated that the death toll from the Manilla Massacre was anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 people. As a trigger warning, I'll be discussing the massacre, and of course the deaths were horrific, as well as this includes essay. The Japanese, under General Yamashita, were in control of the city. When the Americans and the Filipino guerrilla fighters were advancing, he ordered his men to retreat, but they refused. Another commander had convinced 17,000 of these Japanese soldiers to stay in a fight to the death. When the Americans advanced into the city, they found that the Japanese had fortified their positions and were using civilians as human shields. Any of the civilians that did not die as human shields were murdered by the Japanese soldiers. When it became clear to the Japanese that they were surrounded, they turned their fortified positions into a literal hellhole. Again, just another warning that these details are graphic, and some of the photos I'm going to show are graphic as well. The Bayview Hotel became known as a center where, and of course I can't say the word that begins with an R, but you know the word I'm talking about, a center where men forced themselves upon women, some of them as young as 12 years old. Approximately 20,000 women and children as young as 12 years old were assaulted and forced upon in centers like these. Many of them were assaulted until they were dead. Those who did try and resist, there's an instance of a particular woman who did fight back. She was partially decapitated, and then they continued forcing themselves upon her. There's another record of a woman whose breasts were cut off, and the Japanese soldier put the breast on his own chest in mockery of her before they killed her. A 28-year-old woman by the name of Julia Lopez had her breast cut off while she was forced upon, and then her hair was set on fire. Anyone who tried to flee was gunned down by machine guns. There are instances where the Japanese soldiers would convince large groups of people to gather into a building, and then they'd burn that building down. There's another instance where they led a large group of men into a stone dungeon. They placed them inside and walked away, leaving the men to starve to death. They would even storm buildings like the Red Cross, where they'd bayonet infants and kill all the staff. When the Americans and the Filipino guerrilla fighters entered further into the city and they saw the level of destruction as well as the inhumanity that occurred, they were enraged. The Americans had found hospitals burned to the ground where their patients were strapped to the bed, male corpses were mutilated, female corpses were mutilated, and of course the females were forced upon before they were killed. While the Americans did save tens of thousands of civilians, they did a lot of damage to the city. They went through with tanks, with flamethrowers, with bazookas, anything that they could to drive the Japanese out. Of the 17,000 Japanese soldiers that remained in Manila, only about 1,000 of them survived. Now this could be due because of the Japanese refusal to surrender, and it also could be due to the Americans not wanting to take prisoners. Yamashita was tried in a war crimes trial, and he was